Right, so one thing loads while another says we're already live. So, um, so welcome everybody. We are today's Breathe and Bead program. We're once again joined with Janice Rabidoux, who's going to be doing our demonstration, and then also Maria Escalante, our library director, and then we also have Lindsay with us today. Is just joining our group. If anybody else wants to join, we're still open with our Zoom invites. Otherwise, you're watching us right on Facebook Live, which is fun. So Janice, I actually don't know what we're working on today.
I didn't know either. I'm kind of throwing it all together. As usual with these sessions, it is really difficult to have it as a more leisurely group the way we usually do when we met at the library. It's just, bring your stuff and let's hang out and enjoy each other's company and bead. Well, it's turned into more of a, I need to plan something and get something organized so I can take up some time in a constructive way and hopefully have you all participate with conversation as I'm doing it. So it gets a little confusing and stressful, and organization is so key on this type of format. So I'm still getting used to it after doing it since end of March. So yeah, I'm in the spot right now where I've got a few things lined up for us.
Awesome.
I know Maria had mentioned one time that it would be cool to see what can be done with beading in other forms with other materials and stuff like that. So I brought out some of my items that I've made in the past, some samples of things that I own that will give us some really cool new ideas. Now, I cannot demonstrate all of them because it will take longer than what we have. But what I will do is pick one or two pieces. I've already started one item and then another item. I will quickly go through and explain what I did and maybe show you a little bit about that. You're seeing two parts of me right now on this feed. I'm looking at my laptop right now, and this other one here is my iPad. So that's because my laptop view, this one here, you're going to end up seeing a close-up of my hands. So I'm going to switch it to my webcam. And I know in the past we've talked about having a difficult time seeing my hands up close and stuff because I was using my phone, I was using my iPad, and it just wasn't focusing and giving us clear images. So I was lucky enough to procure a webcam through the college IT department. They provided one to me, and so I plugged that in. Still getting used to trying to figure out how to use it, but I think I got it figured out. And so hopefully this will give us better images because it does look nicer up close. Bethany and I took some practice runs on it earlier before this meeting. So yeah.
Figuring out all the stuff, right?
Right. All right, so I'm gonna switch, when I switch my camera over to my hands, I'll have that option to be able to see you guys on my iPad and still be able to converse and communicate with you. So that's why I'll be looking back and forth. All right, so how's everyone today?
All right.
Good. Oh, one other thing we'll mention too, when if you want to see more up close, right now you'll probably see 5 faces, 5 people. If you want to see up close when you're in our Zoom meeting with us, you just switch to speaker view, and that will go right onto my hands with the camera. When I disconnect my hands with my camera, the voice is going to go back onto my my laptop. So you might get mixed up on, like, where's her face, where's her voice, do I get off speaker view, do I stay on? So yeah, that's what's happening. But it's really nice and convenient to have that speaker view when we're looking up close at my hands.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, we are in month 3 of working at home. And I don't know about you guys, but I just want to have a little discussion on self-care and mindfulness, because of the fact that this program has everything to do with being mindful and practicing relaxation techniques. Because when you bead, you're basically doing that. You do it for enjoyment. It relaxes you. You're mindful because you're concentrating on just that piece of work you're doing. You're beading one by one. You're picking up a bead, you're putting it on. It's kind of rhythmic. Your mind can wander and just enjoy being present. So I don't bead enough, and I don't have a lot of opportunity to be mindful like that, but I'd like to find out from you guys, how have you been doing? I noticed, Maria, you're doing some beading right now. So how has your mindfulness been these past few months working at home?
I think beading is the one thing that has helped me like catch my zen again, because I can feel myself going off kilter once in a while, getting really super frazzled and super stressed. And it's the one thing I can do late at night when the kids are in bed, and it helps me relax me. So
Nice.
yeah, so I finally finished my lanyard.
Yay.
Ooh, beautiful.
Ooh.
I like the pattern, and I made a mistake because I was trying to watch a movie and finish the last part where it joins, and the one ended up a little off kilter. But I was like, darn it, that's what I get for multitasking. And so after, I'm going to faster ones. So then I made a bliss text or a Burt's Bees, and then I did a carabiner last night.
Nice.
But
Beautiful.
it just helps me feel, I don't know, like it's like I don't have to be so stressed out. And then I'm starting a new thing today.
Are you?
Yeah, I was gonna do one of those little wrist things like this.
Uh-huh.
Small one.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Oh.
Now, I have a question. What does it feel like to pick up a project to start and then finish it all in one session
Those
versus
are nice.
picking it up and having to put it away and having to pick it up? What is that all about for you?
Well, I like the longer ones. The lanyards are nice, but then sometimes I get tired of the colors. Not that I don't like them, but I'm like, geez, I want to make a new color. I think that's in the past. I used to have a lot of projects that never finished, but now I'm making myself finish it before I go on to the next one. So like the little short ones are nice because I'm faster now and I could get it done in like an evening. So that's a good feeling, like, whew, it's done. I like it. I can go and try something else the next day. So those are good.
Nice. Yeah. What about you guys? Either of you work with beading or even anything else that's mindful? I know you've got some sewing going on, right, Bethany?
Yeah, I'm just again, I only tend to do it when during breathe and bead. So I'm still working on my browns. Last time I was messing up on a stitch, so I had to undo it. But yeah, it's nice. I agree. Like the short projects are nice where you can kind of feel that feeling of completion. At the same time, like I don't have to rethink of a new thing to do. So there's a pro and con, I think. But other than that, we've just adopted some kittens, so my mindfulness has been really playing with them lately, which is really relaxing. We haven't had pets in a long time, so it's really nice to kind of have that other. They're sleeping on my feet right now, so but just being able to stay present with them and take that care for them too, it's really nice. And turn off my brain and just play with kittens for a little bit.
Nice. Yeah. And Jill?
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
So I actually have been really happy to volunteer in the costume shop for our local ballet company. And one of the things that I have taken on to do this summer in preparation for winter, and I really hope that we'll be able to have a production this year. There are some costumes with fabulous beads around the arms and midriff. It's for the Nutcracker for the coffee or Arabian section. But many of those bead sections now look like this. So I am going to be taking apart, and I have some little replacement beads that are not all frayed and disgusting, and putting them together. And I thought this would be a lovely opportunity to work with you guys on that.
Nice. Yeah, it's something nice about putting things back together, right? Trying to make them new again or original, or, you know, maybe even a little different, but yeah, using what you have and making something new.
They're going to need to match what's available on stage. And these particular costumes have gotten sort of sadder and sadder. And I'm so excited for our children to have something really beautiful to wear and delight their audience. So thank you for asking.
Nice. All right. So yeah, I'm glad that you showed us that those little danglies, because and I call them danglies because I've worked with similar pieces with some of my beading projects I've done in the past, and so one of my demonstrations will be talking about and showing how to apply dangles. So, all right, so I'm gonna switch over to my camera, and I'm going to show you some close-up pictures of some of the other beadwork that I brought along. Switch it here. All right, so last time we met, we had, let's see if I can switch this light. No, it looks better like that, doesn't it? We, last time we met, we had brick stitch, right? So I just wanted to show you a few samples of the brick stitch that I brought back because I couldn't find them last time, and to show you a little variation on what you can do after you brick stitch. So if you recall, I originally had this sitting out, and I don't think I had this one out, but this is your typical brick stitch type of earrings that are, you know, they start on top and then you work your way down, different patterns. This is using a little bit different pattern where you skip 2 or 3 of them. So you'll see a little bit of a gap in there. But anyway, so this earring here actually starts out with as a flat brick stitch. So if you want to take a look at this, it's curved. Isn't that beautiful?
Wow.
And I found this pattern, I found the picture actually. Someone had posted some finished pieces that looked like that. And I thought, oh, that is just a beautiful, beautiful design. Here's a purple one I made. And then I thought, well, that's just a brick stitch. So I bet you if I figure out how to make this in a flat pattern, because it looks like it just gets joined on top, kind of like a collar. If you look at that, it looks like something that someone can put on their shoulders. So sure enough, I went ahead and I figured out how to do that part of it. And then you just attach it on the top. And you get that bowed out look, like so. So that's a nice little activity or little project you guys can figure out how to do and come up with some. This is a different color, different size, or different color beads, same size, 11, what are they called? Delicas. And different colors, and I made more rows so they're longer. So there's that. And then another brick stitch design that I started out on and I could not find because for last time, so I couldn't show you, but I'm showing you now, is these ones with the dangles on them. And you know how you start is, let me get a pencil here. You're starting at the top, like the sample I showed you last time, and then you work your way down by adding on each row. And then when you get here, you stop, and then that's where you start putting your dangles on. So it's the same brick stitch design, brick stitch technique that we learned last week, but instead of making the whole earring like so, you stop at a certain point and then you add your dangles. So this is what the one that I learned, this technique is what I learned first when I first started making earrings and making brick stitch. You can also use these longer beads. You bead them the same way you would a regular seed bead. You use them the same way. They're just longer. So that I added that into the design after I got more comfortable as well, and then added my dangles. Okay, so another earring that I was given these, and I wanted to show you another technique that some people use is beading around wire metal hoops. And this metal hoop, they put a little dangling bear in it. And this is the edging that we talked about, that I showed you, the edging on the leather pouches. Same exact technique, you're just going around a metal hoop. Again, if you're still learning these techniques, or if you wanted to go back and watch the videos on library page, they're there, or find videos online that they'll show you how to do the edging techniques. Okay. And another item that I have, I don't know if it'll fit under here, but I have this turtle that actually it's my mom's. She was given it as a gift, I think by my sister, and it has beads on it and it's shaped like a turtle. So I'm gonna try to move this up more so you can see it. And it's made out of wood. I don't know where it came from, probably in somewhere tropical, wherever my sister was, and brought it back. But the beads are only glued on. If you notice, they are flat, sitting side by side. And they're all glued on. Can you imagine gluing those on one at a time? Oh
my goodness.
So there's that technique of, beading an entire three-dimensional piece by gluing on beads. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. Some of the beads are coming off, and I thought, I wonder how they did this. And so as I was looking, I noticed that, yeah, there's glue underneath there. I don't know if you can see that glue underneath there. So they must have put glue on, then applied the beads. Oh, cute, huh?
That is really cool. I never would have thought of doing a project like that.
Right. Okay. Now, let me get my thoughts together here. Oh, I wanted to show you, besides working with seed beads, small seed beads, and doing our little necklaces and earrings and stuff like that, I thought, boy, I have so many larger beads that I use for some of my projects that have the dangles on them. And one of those projects is my Christmas balls that I make. And so I'm pulling out my beads, and I thought, oh, these beads will be really cool on a bracelet. And there's such thing as, I don't know if you guys are familiar with mantra bracelets. It's as an art therapy directive, you can have someone pick different colors of beads, and then they assign a mantra to each of those colors. And then you slide them onto a yarn or something for a bracelet, slide them on there and then put them on as a bracelet. And then you can actually go back when you want to feel comfort or meditate or really try to get in a positive mode. You feel your one purple bead that might mean I am loved. And you say over and over again, I am loved, I am loved, I am loved. As you are caressing that bead and focusing on that mantra. And you can go along your whole beaded bracelet if you want. So that's what a mantra bracelet is that I use in my line of work when I do art therapy with children. And I thought, well, I have this perfect bead that would be perfect for doing a mantra bracelet for. So I have these beautiful pearly, shiny color beads, and they're larger. So we're not working with the seed beads. This will be a project that you can use larger beads for. And I started making my mantra bracelet using hemp cord. And this is the beginning of it. I tried to get another one finished before the class, but I didn't get to it. But it's just using square knots. I'm gonna have to adjust this a little because I can't see because it's so dark. But now it makes the beads too bright, doesn't it? How is that? Is that too bright?
I can see them okay.
All right. So I'm gonna switch it this way and I'm gonna show you how I was doing the knots. These are called square knots. I'm sure you're familiar with them, but if you aren't, and I'm gonna get rid of this thing. I don't need it. Someone want to mute their mic? Okay, thank you. All right, so this is, make sure I have it focused good. Here's where the technicalities come in. Hang in there with me. So if you want to see it closer, but it looks pretty close actually without putting it on speaker view, doesn't it? First thing I did was I put all of my beads that I want on my wrist on one single piece of hemp. So I have a hemp piece that has all of my beads strung on it. It goes all the way up. You can't see that, but it's about 3 wrists lengths long. It goes around my wrist 3 times. That's this one piece. Take 3 wrist length, string all of your beads on there. That will fit 2/3 of the way around your wrist. A lot of numbers here. I could also post the instructions on the Facebook page, but when I take these beads and put them around my wrist, they'll go around 2/3. So I'm going to have, quite a bit of space. About this much space on my wrist left. You need that because the knots in between are going to take up space, and eventually your beads are going to push together where you're not going to have any space left. So you need that about 2/3 space, 1/3 space, I should say. All right, so that I came up with 15 beads that will fit around my bracelet. And I already started the knots on top, but I'll show you how they work. So when you're ready for knots underneath this next bead, I'm going to slide up my next bead because that's the next one in line. And I'm going to make a knot by bringing my left cord over. And then I'm going to bring my right cord and go under. This is where I need to. All right, I'm going to go under that cross that I made. So here's a cross. I'm going to go under that. So I end up diagonal from it, and I'm going to pull it through. Try not to move this too much so you can see it form the knot. So as I'm pulling, it is going to form the square knot, first part of the square knot, like so.
Nice. I'm
going to move it up a little bit more because I'm down far, aren't I? Okay, so then I got to do the second part of the square knot because it's only got half of it. So now I'm going to take my right side, So I'm going to go left first, then right, and do the same thing. Make that cross. It doesn't lay very well, this cord. And I'm going to bring my other one underneath that cross and through that loop. The same thing, but you're just doing it on the other side as it moves around. And so when I pull it and see how it looks, that's what it looks like. Pull it tight. This hemp has a knot in it right here. See that? It keeps getting in the way when I try to knot. The knot gets in the way. Oh, there it goes. I just move it out of the way. There you go. That's it. And then you move up another one and do the same thing. So take your left one. And then take your right one and go underneath that square or cross and come through the loop. It's so much easier to show these in person. So, and then do the second part of it by taking your right side, forming that cross, and then coming through with your other left side string underneath that cross. Ugh. Underneath that cross and through the loop. Maybe if I hold on to it with my finger and then go like that, we'll eventually form the second part of the knot. There you go. So you just keep going all the way down until you get to the end. And on the end, I did it like 4 more times. And then you take this piece that's hanging. That's why you want to have 3 wrist lengths when you start out, when you first put on all of your beads, because you need a long strip to attach it to whatever clasp you're going to be using. I didn't get it this far as trying to see the different ways people put their clasps on. I'm assuming it's just, you know, tie knot, tie knot, tie knot. You could probably end up putting cement or glue on your knots so they stay after you get the clasp on. That might work, because I'm concerned that just tying knots won't hold it very well.
I did a similar project, years ago, and I think I just knotted it, but I'm always overcautious, so I think I knotted it like 5 to 10 times. And I don't wear it every day, but it's still connected. I don't think I ever put glue on it. So,
Oh, okay.
But I really knotted that thing.
Right. Well, that would work. So I'm really looking forward to finishing this piece because I want to wear it. These are glass beads and they're heavier. And when they're glass beads, they just feel so much more special. I don't know about you guys, but I've made the mistake of sometimes using plastic pony beads on some of my outfits, things that I just needed something beads on, and I just was not happy with that plasticky stuff. So I always go with the glass.
Nice.
Okay, so that's that. And so I'm going to show you some pictures of some of the danglies, because then I'm going to end up moving into a project that has to do with danglies. First, I'll show you some danglies. We had these pieces that I had as samples the last time we met. This was, or the couple of times ago we met. This is my medallion that I made, and these are some of the dangles I put on it. I never did show you how to make those, but you know, you just make your whole medallion. And then when you're done, you go back through the bottom parts of the beads, the bottom beads, you go through them, and then you add the dangles, come down, and then come back through your dangles. And then you take your needle and go down to where you want to go to for the next angle. And then you put your beads on, and then you come back up through your dangles. So you're working like this, down, up, until you get all the way over to the edge. So it requires quite a few beads when you get really, really long. This is my other medallion that I was working on. It has a little bit longer. Can't see it all because it's so, but these are good. This is the longest one. This is the middle part. So it will end up going shorter as we go up. But I suspect that this is going to have a lot of beads. Okay, so with that being said, I wanted to show you some dangles that I have made in the past to put on some of my Christmas balls. And so my screen share coming up is going to be the actual Christmas balls. But I want to show you. I made samples. These are the samples that I make before I put them on my balls because I want to see what they look like. So this one would be hanging this way. And one other thing I noticed too is that when I use glass seed beads, they tend to hang better because they get pulled down by their own weight and they sway really nice. And so Lindsay, you would know that on the costumes you guys use for the more they sway and the more heavy they are, the more beautiful they are. And they probably even make noises too when they're on stage. So dangles. I'm going to screen share. I'm going to switch my camera now. I'm going to screen share pictures of some dangles that I've made in the past, or some Christmas balls I've made in the past, to show you an example of dangles. This is one of the Christmas balls. And this technique for beading, I guess you could call it more of like embroidery beading, or it's just using a different pattern. I mean, you're hooking through. See those purple beads inside that net? That's what you're stringing through only. So that's what gives you that diamond shape in your final pattern. And then once I get all that net or that web done, I will go back in and add my dangles by weaving through those bottom row of beads. And so if I take this off the ball, and I should have had a sample, a picture of the flat look, but if I would take this off the ball, it could lay completely flat.
Wow.
So I don't know how to switch images when I'm screen sharing, but I need to go back to screen share, and I'm going to show you guys how, show you another sample of a piece that I made. It's another medium to bead on, and this medium is a Cholia stick. And I brought the Cholia stick back from Santa Fe when I used to live in Santa Fe. So this is a stick that's made out of Cholia cactus, or it's from a Cholia cactus. This is what the cactus looks like inside. It's like a skeleton, and it's very full of holes. It's just beautiful. I have another sample here. Once I get back to my camera up close, I'll show you a real live sample of a Cholia stick. But I took a bunch of little seed beads and other type of bigger seed beads, and I wove it through. And this is a talking stick. This was a project I did for my master's program. But I wanted to share that with you, another way of using beads and another way of another way of beading, actually. Let me see if I can get a little bit close up here. It's another.
Wow.
kind of blurry, but it took me a while, but the beads go inside too. I don't know if you can notice that. It was hard to figure out, well, how do I weave through those tiny cracks with those bigger beads? So what I did was when I had to go through the stick in one of those holes, I made sure it was just the seed beads were on it. It's because I didn't want to see wire. I wanted to see all bead. So that's how I handled that.
Wow.
All right. So I'm going to go back to my camera and show you. Well, actually, let me see if I can show you from here. Can you guys see this? This is a Cholia stick.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I break them into smaller pieces. The stick the talking stick I showed you is longer. It's probably about this long.
Wow.
But this one I cut down. And here is a sample of some beading I did around this one. This was more like a directive for another one of my. And I just used other bead colors and beads in and out. So this could possibly be like a reflection piece for me or a mindfulness piece. You know, I could bring this out and concentrate on my spirit, my one spirit. So, you know, there's different ways of utilizing this bead and using it in different directives. But I always think it's so fun and so interesting to find something out in nature and to use it. So this is perfect. I just love this kind of stuff. And to use it in with the beads is just really cool. So what I didn't do was start out show you how to add dangles to these, but my intention for this one that I had started, it's got some small beads on it and some larger beads on it, all glass. When this is done, I'm going to be doing a lot more weaving in here. It's going to be full of beads. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add dangles on here.
Ooh.
So I did not get to that point, and I don't know whether I need to do a demonstration or if I just explain it. I mean, it's adding dangles. You know, you just pick one bead and then you put your string through it and you add all of your beads that you want onto that string. And then you go back up through those beads and then you've got your dangle and it's going to be dangling away. And then you find another spot, another bead you want to go through. You've got to go through your line of beads, you know, you got to take your needle and go through it and then find another spot and then add another dangle. Make it as long and short as you want. But the trick is, or the technique is specifically, you know, going through a bead, adding beads, and then coming back up through with your needle through those seam beads, but the last one, because the last one acts as the, what is it called? The stay bead. It acts as the knot bead. You skip that last bead and you go through all the other ones. And then that gives you the dangle. And I know, Lindsay, that's probably the technique you use. And do you, on the pieces that you're working with now, I noticed you've got like a tape, a fabric tape that you have them on. Are those getting sewed in there and then the tape gets sewed onto the outfit, or?
This came as like a curtain trim at a local fabric store, and the pieces that I'm mending, my intent is to knot before and after the dangle so that if one breaks, they don't come off. And then that twill tape is going to get tucked up in behind the hem, so it will be invisible on the costume. You'll only see the actual beads hanging down.
Okay, nice.
And I noticed, can I ask a question while I'm on? Forgive me. I noticed that in one of the pieces you showed, you did use the stop bead, just the single one at the end, but in another one, it looked like you had a little triangle at the bottom. So did you go down through one down through the bottom, use that as your stop, and then add another one coming up to make them stand out to the side like that?
I can't remember which one it is, which one you're talking about. I only would come up, I would only have that one stop bead if that's what you're asking.
I think it was one of your medallions. It looked like a little diamond at the bottom.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Very beautiful.
Oh, okay. Yeah, boy, you got a good eye there. I did that. I skipped 3 beads and then went back up. So I'll show you up close. That just kind of, loops it around and makes that little triangle. Let me show you up close here. Video. So that's what I did. Yikes.
There we go.
So yeah, I came through and added 3 yellow at the very end. Then when I came back up, I went through the orange up. So it's making that little loop.
So you could do more and make a little circle too then.
Yeah, you could. If I
Thank-
would. Even notice they look like triangles, don't they? So yeah, I guess it wouldn't make any, it wouldn't matter much if I would show you how to do that because it's pretty much self-explanatory. But maybe if next time, if I finish my talking stick and have my dangles on it, I can show you guys the end result. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I would like to, I guess I better switch my camera here. We're pretty much at the end anyway, right? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna switch cameras. Okay. So I would like to end our little session together. I have this book, it's called Just Breathe, and I've shown it before in I think our very first session that we had. And I thought how cool that, this is called Just Breathe and our sessions are called Breathe and Bead. I've had this book and I've used it in my sessions with some of my clients, children clients. And so I thought this is perfect. So this Just Breathe book is about meditation, mindfulness, movement, and more. And it has everything to do with helping a child learn new techniques and new ways of calming themselves, of being mindful, things like that. But it applies the power of silence. This talks about how, when we're being mindful, how sometimes it's nice to have a silent place to gather your thoughts. Sometimes people would rather be out in nature so they can hear things around them and so they can plant themselves into that space and be present with whatever is around them. So whatever works for you is what you should do. And I myself like to do both. I also like to, when I bead, I like to listen to classical music. That helps me be present and be mindful. Sometimes I like to listen to flute music. Powwow music gets me a little too full of energy. I can't do it. But anyway, this page here in this book, Just Breathe, talks about the power of silence. It's just a short little thing that I want to read to you. One of the most powerful, peaceful, and safe places can be found right inside of you. You might feel that silence can make you feel lonely, confused, or scared. But that is often because being quiet is something you are not used to. You live in a world that constantly has noise and distractions, voices, traffic, machines, music, television, opinions, and social media. The only time you get some quiet is at night, hopefully when you sleep. And that is when your body and mind rest. Giving your mind quiet time throughout the day is healthy for your brain and for your body. Quiet time actually changes your brain so that you can focus better, so that you can see things more positively and not be so tired and reactive to everything. When you are quiet, you can honestly ask yourself questions about what you want and who you want to be. You can take away everyone's opinions and the social pressures about who you should be and only listen to yourself. You know deep inside what is best for you. In that quiet space, you can learn to trust yourself. And in that silence, you can think about how to get the life you want to live. So that speaks a lot to how your mind can take you different places and how busy it can get with all that noise, and how important it is to just listen, block that noise out and just listen to yourself. And lots of times being in a quiet place will help you do that, or being in nature will help you do that, or being with beads will help you do that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and thank you for sharing the space with me, and for me to be able to show you all the different items I have and share my knowledge. And I hope that we have more sharing in the future, and we will just go with the flow as far as what's going to be next, because I don't know what's going to be next. Again, I'm hoping that many of you will bring your own items and share what you're doing like we have been, and possibly even showing us some of your techniques as well. That's great. I love knowledge. I love sharing knowledge. And thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Janice. I love seeing all your different, all the different little things you were doing with all these beads. It's just so amazing. Like I said, I never would have thought of some of these projects. The stick, is so cool. I don't have any cactus around me, so I can't do like the weaving kind, but just kind of like using the tools that you're showing us and expanding and trying different things with them is really cool. And thank you for sharing that reading too. That was a nice reminder to kind of, it's okay to be quiet once in a while and just self-reflect.
Right. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
yes, so thank you to everybody who's here today. We are like right at time, so look
Yeah.
at that. I don't know if anybody else had any final thoughts or comments they wanted to make. Everybody's good. So I am going to I'll stop the live in a second. I do want to remind that in 2 weeks we are going to do this again at 1 o'clock. And that'll be part of our actual summer reading program kickoff as well. So we're going to have a lot of different things happening that day, and Breathe and Beat is one of them at 1 o'clock. So we'll see you again then. And yeah, so hopefully everybody will be joining us then as well.
Thank you. We'll see you guys later.